War Eagle Auburn family, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we sit down, we get together, and we talk about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum. We're always heavy on the sports here on this channel, but if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. Thank you for joining us, whether you're watching live or on the replay. We appreciate you hanging out with us, spending even just a few minutes of your so hard on time to just talk about what we love. Sometimes what about frustrates us about being an Auburn fan and everything that goes into being involved in the orange and blue. On tonight's live stream, it is our typical Wednesday night open mic, open call-in show. We will open the phone lines in just a little bit for you all, so you'll be able to log in there very, very soon. With that being said, as we get started tonight, our main topic is going to be, obviously, to start off with, the situation that continues with Auburn football. But as is the case with most of our Wednesday night shows, we can bounce around a lot. So I hope you've saddled up, got your seatbelts on. I'm sure we'll be visited by some still very happy, energetic Hog fans. So just go ahead and prepare yourselves for that. They've been all over my channel for the past 24 hours. I'm sure we'll see some of those after last night's upset of the Auburn Tigers. All of that is fair game to discuss tonight. We will talk about a lot of that, but you can do us a couple of favors here already by making sure that you smash that like button right now in the chat as well, whether you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, or here on YouTube. You can go ahead and post right now where you're watching from: city, state, international, all of that stuff, so we know who's here, who's hanging out with us, and where you're watching from, actually. All of those typical things, a lot of you that have already done for us. So that's our stream tonight. And later on in the stream, we'll hear from what our stream is brought to you by, and that's our channel membership program. A little bit more about that later on in the show tonight. We're going to be bouncing around a lot. I've got a lot of things that I want to say tonight too. So saddle up, folks. It's going to be one heck of a ride tonight on the show. Let's see who's already here. We got Mr. Kevin Kelly checking in, War Eagle, Linda, Mr. Stan, aka Stan, Jay's checking in, Dusty's here, Big Simp, Russell. Oh man, a lot of our regular people are here, just trying to catch everybody at least once that's already in tonight. Yes, please, Gold-Minded, remind the folks, smash the like button tonight. We got one upset little notification on the Facebook side of things. I wonder if that's someone's upset with me or upset with the or upset with the situation in Auburn right now. Yeah, a lot of good people already here logged in tonight. Thanks for being here so early and ready to talk about some things within the Auburn family stuff. All right, so here's what we're going to go ahead and do. I know that there's a lot to discuss tonight. We're going to bounce around a lot. I do already have someone ready to call in, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines officially. You can take part of that too by checking out that link at the top of the chat window. Just click on it. You can come on live. I'm probably only going to bring one person on at a time. So if you happen to call in while somebody else is here, I'll probably have to wait to bring you in. So just keep trying if you can't get back in, and we'll see what happens tonight. So let's take our first caller tonight, see what he wants to talk about. That's Mr. Ryan. How you doing, sir?
Good. Let's talk about the newly fresh subject. No, I'm not on basketball. Still frustrated about that. Don't talk to me about that.
Tell me how you really feel.
Auburn football. First of all, have you seen the new policy?
I have not gone and looked at it, the official documentation. I don't know if the only thing that I have seen about it is what Brandon Marcella posted about it. And that's about the extent of what I've investigated. Now, I've had people message me about it and kind of fill me in on some of the details of it, but that's about it.
I'm going to sum some stuff up for you.
Okay.
There was a Twitter space that just ended. It was hosted by Brandon Marcello.
Yeah.
A lot of the famous Auburn beat writers were on it, talked about the thing. Hoke's Twitter went into, he posted not only the policy, but also the Bryan Harsin contract.
Mm-hmm.
And what that implies and what Section 20 implies. Go read it on his Twitter.
Right.
But first of all, I read it, and Marcelo pointed this out. It looks very thrown together.
Yeah, probably so. I would imagine.
As you know, the Auburn University was capitalized when nothing else under it was capitalized. It just looks very thrown together.
So is this a screen grab that they took from like the policy online?
The policy database.
Okay. And so this, like, we know for a fact this was taken from there, and this hasn't been altered in any way.
And it was modified yesterday.
Okay.
It was from the Auburn's official database, policy database.
Okay.
And
so what's your thoughts on it?
It basically says, like, you can't, like, you have, like, during the investigation, you have to apply by all rules.
Right.
And I wonder if that's virtually, is my main question. Is that virtually?
So you're asking, can he comply with the rules if he were to do it virtually, as we've all been doing these past couple of years with C+?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then what happened with Bruce Pearl? Because he didn't really comply in his investigation.
Now, how do you know that?
Well, like, I think some beat writers pointed that out in this space. I don't know if it's true.
Okay. Well, I mean, it could be true. I don't know that it's not for a fact, but I would always caution you, don't just assume something.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say that the beat writers do this stuff for a living. So
yeah,
I know that they spend a lot of time on this, but I would never take something completely at face value. I would always be investigative of it first and assume that
another thing they point out is the SEC coaches maintenance tomorrow.
Yes, that is a big thing. That was a big mile marker.
Goes up to that.
Say that one more time. You said you want to.
I want to know if Bryan Harsin shows up to that.
Okay. Well, I can. I'll in just a minute here. Once we kind of get wrapped up with you, I'll kind of give you a little bit of a take of where I know what I think's happening and what I'm kind of being told what's happening.
Because both Hoke and Marcelo said they've just been informed he's going.
I would agree with that. That is what I'm hearing.
They said that on the space, and also, was this policy right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this policy like a last final heave, if you will? They didn't find anything, and this is their last final try to find a quote-unquote probable cause to fire him.
Mm-hmm.
Is this their last hope? Because no one wants to pull the trigger on this.
Right.
And this is the last probable, like, heave at a probable cause.
It absolutely could be. Here is the one thing that I would caution everybody on this. It's very easy to rush to judgment, especially when we're all very much focused on, we think we know who the problem is and all of this. And I'm not, and I think that's probably we're all on the right track there. But there's a certain amount of mob mentality that is happening that I think we all need to take a beat back and just kind of breathe for a second. But when you ask the question, it's kind of odd, the timing, right? That this was put in, pretty late in the game.
Yeah.
Yesterday, when you're in the middle of an investigation, it kind of lines. You have to start wondering, what is the motive here? Why? Like,
yeah,
because there were these ideas out there, these reports that there were some other issues with Harsin Wright. If those were solid, if those had some validity to them, this would have been done already. So it just begs the question, what is going on? And I think that's the biggest frustration that Auburn fans want right now is they want answers. They want to know why this is taking place
and more importantly,
why all this is happening.
Hey, Mom.
What's up? Oh. I think Ryan just got in trouble on there, but hey, thanks for calling in, Ryan. So you can call in too tonight if you'd like to take advantage of that. So please do hit that link button and call into the show and talk to us if you would like to tonight. A lot of people expressing support for Harsin, being upset about what's going on. And yes, I understand that you're upset, and I am upset as well because I don't see a way where Auburn comes out looking good in this, that Harsin comes out looking good in this at this point, the way things seem to be going forward. What I know about the situation, or at least what I believe I'm aware of, what I'm being told, and I'm seeing some of the same things that you guys are, is that he was obviously on vacation. There was apparently some reports that came to the desk, whether they were manufactured or not, of the board of trustees, the administration, about Harsin, and obviously we know how that all went down. He apparently decided to either stay longer or not come back when requested, and that's why this policy has magically appeared in that. So it does feels like maybe like Ryan was saying, a last gasp to get him out. It could be. It absolutely could be. It doesn't feel clean. It doesn't feel right. And that's kind of the easy thing to jump to right now, which may be, in fact, be the truth. Somebody has already donated $18 million for his buyout. I don't, unless you can show me where that is, I'm going to have to ask you to produce the documentation for that. If you're talking about the donation for the basketball situation and saying that's hidden in there, it could be. I highly doubt that. It's going to be an expensive project, and most of that is, if not all of that, is going to basketball. Ryan, thanks for calling in, buddy. I appreciate you calling in tonight. We'll let somebody else call in, though, but thanks for sharing your perspectives. Hey, has please record it if he does. Has called in lately? Somebody please record it if he does. I'm not sure who is. Not sure who that is. If I was Harsin, I wouldn't want to be at Auburn anymore, and I wouldn't blame him. Well, that's part of the question that I have opened up tonight in terms of how we titled this live stream. What is best for Auburn and Harsin at this point? Is it to continue? I don't know. I'd like to think there could be some reconciliation. It happened once before with Tommy Tuberville, and this does scream like Tommy Tuberville type of situation where something very shady was gone down to try to take him out. But have we reached the point of no return? I don't know. It kind of feels that way, though, to be honest with you. And if you guys were here, I think it was Monday night where we did our 2-hour live stream. It was impromptu, but I just felt like, based on looking at social media and everything, it needed to be done. It was kind of just like a situation room. We just got in and talked about the feels of the situation and try to discuss some of it. But now we've got a little bit more details. Get ready for the emergence of Kevin Steele. The issues of that aside, let's pretend Kevin Steele was never involved, or never any whiffs of him being involved in some type of coup or whatever people like to believe. Wouldn't you kind of want Kevin Steele back at this point, even a defensive coordinator role, based off how the defense kind of performed at times? It makes you really appreciate what he was able to do. So it'd be really funny to see that actually come to fruition. It would almost like be the circle's finally complete, no matter how much most people didn't want to see that happen. Scott says that Auburn is going to lose a lot, even the fan base. I'm guessing you're saying to lose a lot of fans within the fan base. Scott, if that's what you're saying, but I'm just going to springboard off of you to kind of tackle a subject there. There's been a lot of people saying, I'm going to be done with Auburn football. No, you're not. You're not going to be done with Auburn football. Will you be mad and frustrated? Absolutely. But when that ball gets kicked off in 1st of September or whatever it is, the first game this year, you'll be watching, no matter how bad it is. Thomas says, could this situation be the turning point for Auburn's leadership moving forward? Has there been enough media attention for the powers that be to loosen the reins? What reins need to be loosened? That's one part about this, Thomas, that I'm trying to get people, and I've engaged in conversations on social media about this, trying to get people to talk about, what do they mean they want people to relinquish power? They want them to not be involved. Like, what does that mean? I need more specifics on that. That's kind of what I would like to know about those type of topics. But it could be the turning point. But let's think about it this way too. Auburn has been through more transition outside of athletics recently, with Leith leaving, having to have Gouge come back in and step in, be an interim. And I think a lot of people, unfortunately, are going to try to throw this at the feet of Gouge. And I mean, he was in charge at the time, but he's been cleaning up the mess that Stephen Leith was responsible for when he was ushered out, I will say. He left on his own terms, but I'm not so certain that didn't happen. Just kind of speculating there. We're getting a new president, new leadership there. So I was even talking to someone today. I was like, I wonder if this is a good thing that this in May, we're going to have a new president and maybe is going to be able to know how to get things steered in the right direction. Let's see here. Harsin has repeatedly said he wants to be here coaching at Auburn. I personally would like to see him succeed here, but like you, I don't know what's best. But it needs to end. Absolutely, it does need to end. There needs to be some finality to it. Ryan was talking about this when he called in. He said that, he's not so certain, or it's going to be interesting to see if Harsin does go to the media days tomorrow, because every question he gets, that's not media days, it's just a press conference. If he goes to that, that's every question he's going to get. And how is he going to handle that? He's been one of those type of coaches to really give the media some crap. But I think this is one time where he may actually engage them a little bit. And you got to be worrying, if you're the administration, what's he going to say? So it's an interesting situation we find ourselves in. What do you do? What's best for Auburn? What's best for Harsin? Harsin obviously said he wants to be here, but is that what best for both parties at this point? I don't know that it is. Willie says that Tuberville's players loved him. Harsin players don't. Now, Willie, you're going to have to be more specific on that, because I can show you the social media posts of dozens of players that do. And I would say the same thing the opposite way for Tuberville. See, that's the thing, is everybody chooses who they want to believe. Everybody wants to believe, because we're all predisposed to a certain point of view. And we're obviously in these social media algorithms, so it shows us kind of the things that we want to see. But we're always going to go towards the things. And I'm not knocking you, Willie, for saying that, because everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But you can't say flat out his players don't love him, because I can promise you that's not true. Some of them might. Maybe they have legitimate reasons. Maybe they don't. I think now some of the reasons look a little bit, the word around is being thrown around as soft. I'm not going to go there, but I think some of them are very poorly timed, very, very poorly advised points of view to be throwing out in such a manner on social media. I think it's best they pull the plug. Auburn is making itself look very bad. The longer this goes on, a lot of people will be affected by this. Absolutely, it will. It's already been affected. I mean, let's not forget that there's 18 to 22 to 24-year-old kids that are not even kids. Most of them are young men that are waiting to find out what their football future is. Some of them made decisions already to come back, to forego the draft, and they're sitting there waiting, wondering what is going on. Do I have a coach? Do I have a trajectory? That's the saddest part about all this. Let's see here. Kevin Steele's in Miami. I know he could leave for a head coaching position, but still, he literally just took another job. That won't stop him, I promise you. For reference sake, Austin Davis. I don't think he has a job officially yet, but he literally left the job, came to us, and now he's leaving again. That college football, college sports, but especially football, is especially at their level. Everybody's trying to probably get to the level of a coordinator or a head coach. You bounce around a lot to get to that point. Christy says that the new policy can't hold up. I hope that he sues the crap out of the university. I'm going to be honest with you. I hope he doesn't, because that's not what's best for Auburn. As much as they may have, those that are in power may have botched this. It was what it seems to look like. I'm not going to wish ill will on my university and my people, but I understand what you're saying, Christy. I do, and part of me shares that sentiment. I think one thing that would be very helpful for everybody is to think about what the supposed narrative out there that I kind of agree with as well, and don't approach it with the same haphazard manner that they seem to be doing. Let's not hope that we get sued, because that's not going to be good for anyone. It's not going to be good for the players, because ultimately it's not going to affect the university. You're still going to come to the games. You're still going to buy the merchandise. People are still going to come to school there, but it's going to affect the kids. It always trickles down to someone else. And that's the sad part about this situation. I believe they're talking to Lane Kiffin. I'll be honest with you, I hope not. But that's just me. That is just me. I just feel like if we fire Harsin, we become the Tennessee, got to get behind the coach if there's no foul play. I believe in his vision. Absolutely. If there's nothing wrong that's been done in Coach Harsin's, which I believe in innocent till proven guilty, then, we need to get behind him and support him. But there have been some allegations out there that I think should be looked into. I would hope by now they would have had enough time to look into them. And if they can find no reason for fault, come out and say it. It's over with. Move on. We got to play some football. But it's lingered on a little bit too long. Let's see here. Kind of scrolling down here. Kyle, this is. I don't know what fan base you align with, but you need to check scoreboards. Kentucky owns us. Interesting. So are we talking about this year? Or are we talking about over time? I think I see your other comment. Okay. Buddy, if you go, the phone lines are open. Please call in if you want to talk about how Kentucky owns us. Let's see here. Now, so Neil, I can't go there tonight. I will go there at some point, but I can't go about that just yet. So why would anybody want him back? It was a losing season. What are you seeing? So it's a losing season in one season. If we're going to do that every single time, especially at the state the program is right now, we're never going to get traction. So in my opinion, Panda, I'll just say that Whitey Panda is a weird name, Panda, you have to have patience. You have to have time to get your foundation laid, especially when it's a wholesale changeover, which is what this was. So he should have been given 4 to 5 years to get it laid, a full changeover class. Most people aren't willing to give them that. So most people I can get them to agree to 3 at the very least. But that's what he needs to be given, in my opinion. What happens if you fire Harsin and the whole team transfers? Well, then they will hold open tryouts for whoever's on campus and wants to play and bring in whoever they want. And you will take a very big step back as a program beyond being Tennessee. And that's really scary to talk about. The whole team won't transfer. That's the thing is there's so many kids here ingrained that they will stay, but you will figure out how good probably some of your backups are, those that are, your freshmen, your sophomores, true juniors that aren't ready to really make a leap somewhere. You're going to figure out real good how good those might be. Let's see here. Why fire someone over rumors? Well, it's a fair question, Satchel. It is a very fair question. But, when they're, how do I walk around this? You should never operate off of rumors, but according to the university, there was enough presented to them to investigate, which is why they made a statement about it. So to us, it's still rumors, but obviously we are operating, I say this a lot here, we're always operating ourselves with 25% of the information. Whoever is making the decisions has all of it, or at least as much as they're allowed to have or have access to. So you have to trust, and I know that's hard to do, that there are reasons to do an investigation. And if they find nothing, it'll be over and done with. But it hasn't yet. Let's see. You're going to lose Tank if Harsin is gone. Potentially, Barry. Potentially. Anybody's fair game to lose if Harsin, if there's any transition. Doesn't matter if it's Harsin. Doesn't matter if we had Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin had come here for some reason before this, and we're trying to get rid of him. Yeah. So you always run that risk. It depends on what Tank thinks he can get out. I don't foresee there being a lot of transfers out simply because Harsin leaves, but who they brought in would make the determination of who stays, who transfers, and things like that. I think that's the one thing that everybody needs to think about. I'm not saying there's not going to be transfers because I expect that there will be. It's just what happens with any transition. But it's not like the team's just going to up and quit. They're not. I mean, there may be some, but then a lot of them are not going to. Let's see here. Have you listened to social media? We had 18 transfers. I'm all for culture change, but you can't run a third of your team off. Yeah, we did, but a lot of other teams did as well. So Willie, where I would counter you a little bit is this is a time period where a lot of players have the option to transfer for free, meaning that there's no stipulations to it. It's the extra year for the pandemic that most were given. So outside of that, you wouldn't be seeing that because they'd still be taking the penalty for transferring for sitting out a year. So that's not really a fair judgment to call against him because there's going to be more simply by the nature of having the freebie, and they've used it now. Let's see here. Let me scroll down a little bit, catch up on some of y'all's comments. Georgia had 19, Bama had 15, had like 15, your point. Listen, I know we've all got very strong opinions about this one way or the other. I hope that we all can remain respectful. And I mean, I think we all are doing that mainly here. Ignore the Kentucky fan while he's being ridiculous. But you know. Let's see here. Let me keep scrolling down here. Jonas says, honestly, who cares about Auburn football? Well, if you're an Auburn fan, you're lying if you say you don't care about it, because you wouldn't be here talking about that when it's ours. That's the main thing that we're talking about tonight. Bruce says, what about Auburn's reputation? Well, the reputation right now is not good, and it's not getting better by the minute for them right now. So I don't really know what you're asking there. What about it? I mean, the reputation at this point is not a good one. Whoever is at Auburn as the head coach after this, whether it's Harsin or somebody else, has got a lot of climbing up to do. Neil says, I need to clean up the trolls. The trolls kind of entertain me because they're only here helping our numbers boost up. So, you know, it is what it is. Willie says, I just want Auburn to win. I'm from Tuscaloosa, and it hurts my heart to see Auburn fall apart before my eyes. Well, that's what happens. Believe it or not, even with you being stuck in the vile place that is Tuscaloosa, they will fall at some point. And when they do, it will be glorious. I promise you. I promise you. It will be glorious because they have been up so high for so long. And you're going to see the wailing and gnashing of teeth like never before. It is not a good time right now for Auburn football. I'm not going to shy away from that. And you probably deal with that more than most being in Tuscaloosaville. But you can't let the emotions of what you're dealing with skew you from the context of this situation. You might be upset with some of the things that Harsin has on his plate or has laid at his feet in terms of being responsible for that being transfers, but you got to look at it within the context of everything. Don't let social media, the rebel rousing, fuel those emotions. Cody's asking, did they fire Harsin? As of this stream starting, I am not checking social media right now because I'm focused on you guys. Then, you know, I don't know. It could be, but I haven't heard anything. Are they still in meetings with Coach Harsin as we speak? Well, I'm not privy to that. I am not privileged to be in the know about such things, so I don't know. I would imagine he got the official word is that he got back today from his vacation, so I would imagine he went straight into a meeting. Probably one of many meetings. And if there was already a solution, I'm sure we would have heard it by now because as much as we complain about things are not looking good for Auburn, the people that make the decisions see that and know that too, which is why they've already addressed it a couple of times. And so if there was a decision to be made, if there was a solution, whether we like it or not, it would have already happened, which tells me this thing is so complicated and convoluted. It's not even funny. I'm surprised the SEC commissioner hasn't gotten involved at this point. Why does he need to get involved, Star Screamer? What's gone wrong in terms of an SEC point of view? if there was some serious allegations against Harsin in terms of some of the rumors that don't seem to be true at this point, then yes, you might say he needs to get involved. I promise you, the commissioner has probably made a call into Alan Green, just trying to get updated and things like that, because he does care about, I mean, as every team succeeds in whatever area or sport that is, so does the SEC. So I'm sure he's checked in, but he really doesn't have jurisdiction over that. He's just an overseer of the athletic events. Kyle says that our program isn't worth calling over what's there to talk about. So why are you here then, Kyle? Kyle, I'm a Kyle. Come on in. The phone line's right there. You don't even have to be on camera. Let's talk about it. I'd love to talk about it with you. This program is so much more enjoyable when you turn off the chat and the Harsin haters. Now, Rob, let me counter a little bit there. I think Coach Harsin should be constructively criticized in some areas. I think a very disappointing national signing day. While I did not expect us to get much excitement because most of it was in the early signing period, I was shocked to see that we got nobody outside of a preferred walk-on. So that happened. The way it collapsed at the end of the season, granted, there was a lot of things in there as well. That's when I argue one side and say, okay, you got to look at things in context. It goes the same when we're calling people Harsin haters. There is still stuff to discuss of what could be done better. Doesn't mean we got to fire the guy, drag his name through the mud, but it does mean we need to be constructively critical of him. So don't go to the other side of that equation, right? Because it could get bad. All right, we got our next caller in. Let's talk to Mr. Felix, one of our Booster Club members and channel members. Mr. Felix, it's good to talk to you, sir.
Hey, how you doing, Kyle? Everything all right your way?
Hanging in here, just trying to piece together the madness that is Auburn sports right now. How about you?
Boy, oh boy, isn't it going crazy, huh?
Part of me wishes it wasn't this crazy, but then if it was boring, we wouldn't have anything to talk about. So it's kind of like, as a somebody in the media, it's kind of like I need things to talk about. So there's plenty of it right now, but I hate that it's at the expense of the university and the team that I love.
And ain't that it? Because I tell you, I am a Auburn fan through and through, and I just hate that all these people are just. I mean, maybe look. I'm not going to hear about the hearsay or talk about the hearsay or whatever that is. I don't give into all that, but I just want to hear concrete evidence or whatever they got going. But either way, man, Kyle, this doesn't look good. I mean,
it does not.
But honestly, it does not look good at all. Not for the university, not for Harsin, especially not for Harsin. I mean, this man has moved his family from Boise, Idaho, his whole family, his kids, and they're in the school process and all that jazz. I mean, come on, man.
Yep.
You gotta give this man, you got to look at from his side of his, his take too. I mean, but if they are true, man, I sure hate it. But if they aren't true, boy, Auburn sure got a lot to, man. Ooh.
So yeah, there's a not double-edged sword. There's not a good expression, but a couple of ways to look at that. Obviously, in sports, everybody's used to moving around. So while I do, obviously feel for them if they would have to uproot again, that's a common thing. I think I can't say this for 100% fact, but I'm pretty sure this was true based off what I was told. Harsin actually, at least his agent, investigated other jobs for him in the offseason, but that's what most coaches do regardless. Their agents are supposed to do that. So him moving around is not so much what I would say that, but just the treatment of that and being run through the mud. And when they just
that's where I'm at. That's what, yeah.
And I think that's what
that's where I'm at.
Right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And I'm not.
Yeah. And I think that's the more frustrating part of us, because a lot of us, identify with the creed. All of us should, and I think most of us do. And we believe in the human touch, and we want to make what that means by that line, the phrase in the creed is that we believe in treating the others as we should, and as we would want to be treated. And it doesn't seem like
be treated correct.
It doesn't seem like Harsin's getting that right now. But I mean, the question that I posed for this video as just kind of our headline topic is what's best for Auburn for them to stay together at this point. I mean, what do you think?
And man, I knew he was going to hit me with that, but I tell you, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, it would probably be best if we cut ties with him, Kyle.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, I really think it'd be best for both sides. One, it would take the hurt. Well, I don't want to say hurt, but it would take the stigma of him being on the field. Okay, you watch him on the field, and then the world's watching. And of course, the world's already heard about this 10 times over. So the
Right.
world's watching every football game, still talking about it, still talking about it. And it looks like a big black eye on Auburn's, football team. I mean, maybe it didn't happen. I don't care. I mean, again, I'm not going saying that it did happen or it didn't happen. I'm just saying it just the talk of it, just the talk of it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. I get it,
So
man.
I don't know.
It,
It just. I think it might be best if we just said, hey, pay the man the money or do whatever we got to do and
but
suck it up, buddy, and go get somebody that I don't know about the steel thing.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
I am much
Anyway,
more inclined to talk about the what after this after we get some, that's the crazy thing about this. One day I'm waking up hearing and then being told things that doesn't look good for Harsin. Then the next day it's like, well, he may have a fighting case. And I think that's kind of where most people are at this point with the ridiculous, at least seemingly ridiculous policy that was just recently put in place. You would think that that's some grounds there where Harsin might have a leg to stand on because of the nature of the way this thing seems to be shaping out, where Auburn's kind of behind the 8 ball in terms of trying to move forward
I
with this process.
I have a question, Kyle. And I mean, you don't
Go
have
ahead.
to answer it. You don't want to, but how in the hell did all this start? I'm sorry for my language, but
It's okay.
how did all this crap start, man? I mean, from 1 minute we were doing just fine. I mean, yeah, there was a little rumbling in the ranks, and dudes wasn't like, well, he's not a treat. Hey, that's a coach, man.
Yeah.
Look, sometimes you don't get what his mentality is. Sometimes you don't, you do what you're told, and as a football player, you're learned to do that anyway, but from
Mhm.
jump anyway. I mean, you're supposed to run routes and do this and that and the other and push ups and jumping jacks. You're supposed to do all that crap.
Right.
Don't act like it's not your brand new. You're brand new to the crap, man. I mean, you done it and you've done it all your life, and now you run whine about it. So somebody pushed you a little harder than another coach. Get out of here. I want to hear all that crap, but I'm just saying, how did all? I mean, one day was perfect. The next day, all of a sudden, boom, blows up in everybody's face.
And
I
isn't
just
it
don't get it.
funny that it's the same day that a scandal comes out for Alabama, and now we're not even talking about that? Look,
Right, right.
in reality, I have to try to be rational, assume that they're not connected and whatsoever. But it's just, every
Too
time I see something,
coincidental. No,
right? Every time I see something happen for Alabama like that, I immediately think, all right, what's coming out for Auburn next? And
the
more
shoe's
often,
gonna drop. Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
like somebody said, all right, you got that dirt, drop it. So no, I'm not going to sit here and say that that's what went on here. I honestly don't know where it started. Some people are pointing back to a post on Facebook by a supposed booster. I've never seen it.
Me
Frankly,
neither.
I don't care. It
No, yeah, no
started.
doubt. No, I'm baffled. I'm just baffled, blown away. I mean, I'm 3 weeks. I mean, I'm just over. I mean, I don't know. You can knock me over with a feather, man. I mean, I couldn't even believe it. I was like,
Yep.
Coach Harsin, get out of here, man. I don't want to hear all that crap, dude.
Yeah.
Now you're just trying to make waves because he pushed you too hard or whatever, and
Right.
that big cat went to over there talking major junk about him beating the football team, whatever. I don't know, whatever, dude. I like to
I know
see.
it's
I
frustrating.
swear, I like to see Auburn play them. Was one time. I mean, just one time. But anyway,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well,
I said my piece, and I'll let you go for that, man.
I appreciate you calling in tonight, Felix. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Hey, man, no problem. Hey, thank you for having me.
Of course, War Eagle.
Boy, Eagle, buddy.
Yeah, I think you heard it there. I mean, everybody's still just trying to get their heads wrapped around this. And I think the common theme here is whether you are thinking Harsin does need to go or whether you want him to stay or whether you're just kind of wanting some resolution, is that we all are frustrated by how this is making Auburn look bad. That's just the facts. It's making Auburn look bad. All right, I'm going to get back to your comments and questions here. Let me take a real quick second to remind you of what's our show is brought to you by. At least for this stream tonight is our channel membership program. You'll see a lot of people with icons next to their name. They are channel members. And then you get those little level up icons next to you for the longer time you're here. They're little tumors corner toilet papers that go next to your name. It's just a fun little thing we do. Don't take it too seriously, you trolls that are here right now. And you can sign up for as little as $1 a month and also get access to the emojis with the brand new Peacock one for us being, well, at least not yesterday, but for most of basketball season, peacocking all over everybody else and having fun with it. Let's see. Facts, not hearsay, is what Neil wants. Can someone please explain what is going on with Auburn? Nobody can explain exactly what is going on at this point. Let's see here. Back up just a little bit. Let's see. This came out of nowhere. They first hired Harsin when they didn't agree with the hire. It was only a matter of time until they wanted him out. Well, one of the questions we asked on a previous live stream is if he beats Alabama, are we even talking about this? No, we're not. And it's not just specifically about Alabama, but it's the way it kind of all collapsed. And it was a pattern. Winning tends to solve everything. But does it ultimately? I'm not so certain that it does. Like J-Boy said, the biggest loser in this situation is Auburn. As the fans, we have to stay positive. I would agree with that, Bubba and the old man. I would say it's hard to right now when there's no answers out there. And so I understand that. And that's kind of why we get on here, while we had our situation room on Monday, just to let people talk. And we had an open mic there too, because we're all just trying to make sense of it at this point, is really what it amounts to. Only facts, Rob says, his losing season, but we said give him 3 to 5. Well, we said that, but clearly somebody else does not want that. He should stay for 2 more years unless they find cause. I mean, I would agree with that. I think he needs longer than that, especially. So here's the crazy part. Initially, I say that they need 4 to 5 years. Every coach does. With this going on, the damage it's done, you keep Harsin, you're going to have to give him way more time than that. As long as there's a trajectory in the right direction, like you're not just continuing to fall. That's a different story. But yeah. Whitey says that's bad logic. Gus beat Bama 3 times, and look what happened to him. I think you missed what I said there. It wasn't just the Bama beating. It was, or not being able to be, it was the continual trajectory of every game that followed in that losing streak of having a lead or being in a position to win the game and then falling flat on your face, especially in the second half. Let's see here. I wonder if Davis would have stayed, would we be talking about this? I guess you're talking about Austin Davis. Something tells me that things would have come out regardless. I really I believe that. The craziness that has ensued the last week, I think it still would ultimately come out. Did he leave because he got wind of it? I like to think not. It's hard not to think that, though, isn't it? I don't like Harsin, but I think this is wrong. Well, at least you can be even keeled on that. He deserves 2 to 3 more years for sure. Okay, but what happened during halftime during the skid of games? Well, they made some adjustments in some areas, but not in, well, here's the thing. In halftimes, there's always adjustment made, but it's a question of did you make the right ones or not? And were you able to counter the adjustments that they were making? That's why I always, when I chuckle when I see people say the inability to make adjustments. Adjustments are always made. That's what halftime is for, is to give them a break and make your adjustments. But did you make the right ones? Kyle, I thought you were gone, buddy. I thought you were gone. I can send you away. But again, I would love for you to call in and talk trash about Auburn basketball and other stuff. But, you said you were going to leave, but yet here you still are. You got to love those little trolls with nothing better to do. Auburn's a bass fishing school now. Yes, we've been that for quite some time. We are an everything school. I am more worried about, number 1, hiring OCs, and number 2, recruiting. Well, you need a head coach. to hire an OC and to take care of recruiting. So I would say we need to get those things. We need to get the head coach thing figured out before we move on to all of that. Is there any way that he comes out like Tuberville during Plane Gate or Jet Gate, as most people call it? Is there any way he comes out looking above the junk? I guess is what you're saying. Yeah, there's definitely a way. If there's no if the allegations aren't true and they have no other reason to get rid of him, if that's what they're trying to do, then yeah, he's going to come above this. And Justin Hokanson, I think, is who I can credit saying this first. If he makes it out of this alive, the fan support, by and large, I know some of you here tonight are expressing some displeasure with him. They're going to rally around him, just like they did for Tuberville. And you will see a very excited fan base on the first game back at Auburn with him. But by and large, we're not always in agreement, but sometimes we are. Yeah. So Neil, the funny thing, this is a little bit mean, but I'm gonna allow it. I saw earlier and I didn't address it when I know he's still watching right now. He's one of those guys that thinks that he's more important than anybody else in the room and says, I'm going to leave and think that's going to affect away, but he's still watching right now. Got you, Kyle. So call in. It's right here for you ready. As long as you can behave yourself, I don't have to mute you because of you acting like a child. It is here available for you. We haven't talked about Etheridge. Could possibly take the job at UGA as DB coach if this gets sour. Yes, great point. Gold-minded, a little bit different take on this whole storyline. What happens to we talked about how this affects the players, but obviously there's assistant coaches waiting in the wings right now, wondering what's going to happen to them if this goes south or goes sour, as you said. A lot of people need answers to this, not just the fans, and it's very frustrating. And you could lose a guy like Zach Etheridge. And not that I would, it's not that I play favorites, but obviously we have an affinity towards a guy like Zach Etheridge because he's an Auburn guy. So that hurts almost worse if he goes, especially to a rival. But you can't blame the dude, right? If he's waiting around and doesn't look like it's going to go the way that's favorable to him, he's got to make a change for his career, even if that pains us to watch him going to Georgia. It's happened before. We've watched Tracy Rocker do it. It'll happen again, but yeah, it's frustrating. Thomas says that Harsin, in my opinion, really made the correct adjustments. I refuse to judge him on that off-the-field stuff, but as a head coach at Auburn, he's done poorly during in-game decision-making with one season. I think you need to give him more than one season to make that assessment correctly. The good thing is I know that you guys are taking care of him mainly over here. And guess what? You're still watching, Kyle. I know you are. I know your type. The president and AD should resign if Harsin is fired. Well, great news. The president's leaving regardless in May because we just hired a new one. He takes place in May, just like literally this week started. So that'll happen. Alan Green, why should they get fired? Why should they resign if he gets fired? You know, this was Alan Green's guy. This is the guy he went out and out of the box type of hire. If he gets fired, I don't understand why you would think he needs to get Alan Green needs to get fired. Let's see. My husband, both of us are Auburn alumni, say Auburn's fixing to fire Bama's next coach, going to the coach rehabilitation program. If we lose Etheridge, we cry long and hard. I would hate to lose him. Orel says, oh, this is tiresome. And I'm waiting for facts. We all are. Listen, if I had straight facts to give you, I would. A lot, that's a lot of things in our booster club members is, I share some things with them that I'm hearing just, when I can. And I keep telling them, look, this is just mainly speculation on my part because no one knows what the heck is going on. That's literally the most frustrating thing about this. But yeah. All right. We got a caller in. So let's say hello to Mr. Russell. What is going on, man? How are you?
War Eagle, Kyle. War Eagle, buddy. I'm blessed. Always God blessed. A little
Yeah.
bit challenged as an Auburn fan right now, but always God blessed.
Challenge is putting it lightly, my friend.
Yes, trying to get this in the background. This is the I'll show this to you real quick. Can you see this?
Yeah. Yep. Can see it.
Okay. This is what I was trying to tell you about the clock. It's got the 83 season. Well, it should
Very
have been
nice.
national. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's a little frustrating right now as a Harsin supporter. It took me by surprise, as I think it did most Auburn fans, but
Yes.
it's unfortunate he was on vacation. Something's just really fishy. I don't know.
It
Something's just
is.
off about it.
Yep. The timing is, and you'd like to think that there's enough people behind the scenes involved in this that would understand the timing, all of this, and say, okay, if we are trying to pull a coup, let's do it a little more subtly than we're doing it, you know? Don't do it in the dead of the night. Don't pull another Jetgate. It's basically was the reverse of Jetgate at this point, if that's what's happened, right? Because, you know, in Jetgate, it was the athletic director and some other influencers going to go meet with Petrino in the dead of night. Harsin leaves in the dead of night to go on vacation, and then they start stirring the pot here. You know, it's ridiculous.
And then you have the rumors thrown in on top of it. It's like,
Yeah.
it's just, why now? I mean, I can understand when the coach is leaving people and being a little bit upset and kind of worried over that. But in my opinion, as an Auburn fan, no, I don't like seeing coaches be fired. But I love the fact that Harsin sees an issue and he addresses it and doesn't care what anybody thinks, the popularity of it at all. I respect that, because there's a lot of people nowadays that wouldn't do that just on perception alone.
Yep.
And he doesn't care. He sees the change that needs to be made, and he's making it, whether that be players or coaches, because everybody is not everybody, but a lot of people are very upset right now with the amount of players leaving. Well, that's been said that a lot of these players, not all of them, that they've been said, you know, it might be best if you were to transfer. So people might need to tone it down just a little bit on the whole roster situation, because just because it looks like a negative, cutting the fat is what you do in your first year or two. And he always spoke about this, and nobody brings it up anymore. He was very big on roster management. Well, if you're going to do roster management and maybe half of the team, say 50%, don't necessarily agree with your coaching style, you're going to have mass defections. But when you're bringing in transfers with multiple years, you're just kind of trading up one guy for another. And a lot of these guys that have left haven't been superstars. Now, they might have been some of the younger guys, besides Bo Nix. None of them were highly thought of across the nation. You know, maybe Kobe Hudson, but there again, he had his warts also. So, I mean, it's not like we lost just a Michael Irvin or Jerry Rice. We haven't lost that. We've gained some really good freshmen, and people have just so quickly forgot that great signing day and that high that we all had, you know, a couple months ago when we got all those great players, and everybody wants to name Trevon Reed head coach of the year. And it's just, you know, it was a great feeling. And all of a sudden that just didn't exist because we didn't sign 3 or 4 guys on signing day when we already had 20 something. And it's already been said we're not to the limit of 85, but we're getting dangerously close. So why you don't just take a guy just to take him to fill it up? Because if you want to be particular about who you get, you got to be. You can't just. No, okay, sorry. Go ahead. I'll let you.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine. No, I agree with what you're saying. The whole recruiting thing. Listen, I've said it here already. I was frustrated that we didn't get anybody because I thought we'd get somebody. You know, it worries you. But what people forget is that the real signing day is early signing day now, and even if it wasn't, it's split across 2. So that excitement that you're normally anticipating is going to be lost. And so when you don't sign anybody on the traditional signing day, it looks bad. But you're right. People forgot about how we were all praising. What a great day. You can go back and watch our, you know, stream after that. I was like, wow, look at these guys that are coming in. You know, yes, we lacking on offensive linemen and still are 100%. Nobody's going to dispute that. But there was, in my mind, did a lot better job than what when I thought he could have done with his first full recruiting class after the year and the trajectory that they were showing at the time. So I just think that the recruiting side of thing, the transferring in, it's just one of those things that if you're already predisposed not to like Harsin, you're going to use it as fodder. And, you know, and it goes the reverse way too. We all just got to stop and breathe and let this thing play out. And I know that's frustrating,
Yeah, it's hard.
because I hate it, but you got to let it play out, and then we need to figure out how we can unify together and move forward. And whether that's with Harsin or without Harsin. And I'd hate to say that because I'd like to see him continue and get a fair shake here at Auburn, but we got to figure out how to move forward together after this point.
I have some thoughts on that. I hope that we do keep Harsin. A lot of people are saying that we just need to cut ties at this point. I just think it could get so drastically worse than it is right now. If people are upset about the transfers, oh my goodness, it'd be craziness. And like it would take us years, in my opinion, to recover because we already just kind of cut the normal amount of players you do in a year. You're going to double that if you have a coaching change. Plus, what has Harsin done? I mean, some people were upset about his record, and I can't stand it, but I'm going to do it. He could be very saving-ish. He could be saving. I don't want him to be saving. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to have anything to do with Alabama. I want him to be the next Harsin. But these coaches that are pretty successful, sometimes they have a start of it because he talks about building the program the right way. He doesn't just come in and just ease the Band-Aid off. He rips it right off. That's why we've got 20 transfers right now because he's not trying to please anybody. He's sitting there saying this is the way it's got to be done to be successful. And then people are using that to undermine him and the administration, and they're using the coaches' defections, which I'm not going to pretend to know because I wasn't there. But the fact that Derek Mason says he's coming back, or he tells the players he's taking a vacation, he needs a break, signs somewhere else, that's not on Auburn. That's on him. Now, if there's stuff behind the scenes, whatever. And the whole situation with offensive coordinator leaving, apparently he was going to be fired if he didn't leave anyway. So it's kind of a nice gesture just to let him leave out the way he did. Yep. There was obviously some issues we don't know about, but he was probably going to be let go. So maybe that wasn't necessarily a negative thing. We took a chance on a big name hire to bring somebody in recruit. It didn't work how he wanted it to. Harsin still hasn't even got a chance to put in his play call. I'm very excited. I hope we keep him because I was looking forward to seeing what his play calling looked like opposed to Bobo's because they said they had similarities. Well, he got rid of him for a reason. They obviously didn't have enough similarities. I wanted to see things work. I wanted to see what these things were. Sorry, one more thing that you hit on a second ago about the offensive line. Somebody made a point about a month ago. They were upset about the commitments that we had. I am too. We do. We need more depth. We need guys for the future. Great having the seniors come back like they did. That says a lot about Harsin in his favor. Derek Hall does too. And Tony Fair, a guy that's left the program already, still saying positive things. He was chemo to the cancers. That should be enough for a lot of the fans to sit there and not listen to people who aren't a part of Auburn anymore, chose to leave. Right. Which one do we want to listen to? Which one of the administrations want to listen to? Sorry, let me finish up. I get off on tangents right now. There's so much going. It's frustrating. And the loss last night didn't help my feelings. But anyway, with the offensive line recruiting, a lot of these kids that are high 5 stars and high 4 stars, they sign early, and they kind of know where they're going a little bit early in the process. So Harsin and Friend, which everybody wants to beat down, had since July? Kyle, am I mistaken for they could have in face-to-face?
Yes,
recruiting?
Yep. I don't know the exact timeline, but it's just been, they've just now started to get that back where they can do face-to-face back at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing for Auburn. Everybody knows about you get them on campus, you got face-to-face. That's huge for Auburn. So he didn't have that. And he still just pulled in a decent recruiting class, nitpicking who he wants. So people understand a 19 class to him might be a 10 in his eyes because he's getting the guys that he wants. He didn't make exceptions. He got the guys he wants, so it might be a lot higher quality for the type of program and for the type of offense and defense he's installing. These guys might fit it to a T, which everybody knows. Boise State did that great. They were under talented, but they got the guys that fit exactly to the program. That was why they would upset FSU's.
And you remember Tommy Tuberville was known for turning 3 stars into 5 stars, and that's one of the things that made him so great. Is because you've got these guys that are overlooked, and they get here, and everybody's favorite word, development. Tommy was king at that. That was one of the things that they'll never take away from him. A lot of different frustrating angles, and I appreciate you being here to share some of those with us tonight and your perspective on it. Thank you for calling in, Russell.
Yeah, War Eagle.
War Eagle, buddy. All right. I am going to close down the phone lines, though, for tonight. I will have to wrap up here in just a second. But, guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. Get your last-minute comments and questions in real quick. A couple things I want to remind you of as we get out of here tonight. As always, please do check out the links in the description for ways you can help support our content. We talked about one of those tonight, the channel membership program. You hit the join button here. Sometimes it's easier to see it on a desktop as opposed to a phone, but you can sign up for as little as, or at just $1 a month is all it takes to get you those icons next to your name. It allows me to see you a little bit more clearly than everybody else, so I can try to get to your comments mainly on some of these things, and obviously after the fact. And also you get access to those emojis. But check out some of the other links as well. And give you a little perspective of what we're doing this weekend. I will be in Auburn, so stay tuned for that. I will be going to the gymnastics meet, be posting some stuff on social media about that. Depends on what else I get into throughout the weekend. Just stay tuned. I'm not going to the basketball game at this point, but if anybody knows a ticket that's reasonably priced out there, let me know. So, a little PSA over here for me. But yeah, so that's what you can expect from us this weekend. And obviously we'll do a post-game show after the basketball game. So stay tuned for that. Lots of other podcasts and stuff coming out the rest of the week. Guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. Take a few last comments here and questions. Linda, I stand with Harsin. And I stand, and I hope when I question some of the things and say we all need to take a beat and just let this thing play out, I support Harsin as long as everything, looks like there was nothing wrongdoing on his part. And I don't see any reason to think that at this point. But I'm just not going out there doing a lot of that like you guys are, just because I want to take a step back, as frustrating it is, and give this thing a chance to figure itself out. Leanne, you got gymnastics tickets? Well, we're both going to be there. Let's see if we can't. We're connected in the booster club, so send me a message when you're there. Let's see if we can't meet face to face. I'd love to meet some of y'all face to face, which would be awesome. Let's see here. Any other last comments and questions I can hit really quickly? I have watched several podcasts and noticed some are biased without knowledge. Well, Steve, is that talking about us or someone else? Not really sure. Thomas, thank you for reminding everybody to hit that like button on the way out. Really appreciate you being a great advocate for that and a great advocate for the show. With that, guys, I know it's frustrating right now. We didn't really hit on a lot of the different angles, just trying to still process all this stuff. If something happens, if something breaks, we will talk about it here on this channel. So stay tuned, stay subscribed, and I appreciate you guys so much for being the best little family within the Auburn family. We'll get through it, guys. War Eagle.